Elsewhere in playoff news, there's been a reported change in the future, maybe, to the playoff format. It would then involve 6 teams, 5th versus 8th, 6th versus 7th, home advantage to the higher ranked side. 3rd and 4th place automatically qualifying for the semi-finals, and then would play a 2-leg semi-final tie against the winners of the eliminator. So basically bringing in an eliminator round to do away potentially with what you'd call dead rubbers come the end of the season. Discuss, Joby McAnuff.
Well, my first point on that is how many dead rubbers do we actually have? And I think that's.
And what's your definition of a dead rubber?
Yeah, I think that's one of the beauties of all the leagues in the EFL. They're so competitive at all ends of the table. We see so many teams that are involved down to the last day, that have got a chance of getting into that playoff spot as it is already, and likewise at the bottom of the table. So my thing probably at this moment in time, and it's still very fresh and it's only been reported to be discussed, is that there's nothing wrong with it. So why try and fix it? Do I get maybe some of those clubs' perspective that I find it more and more difficult to compete at the top end with the parachute payments and the discrepancy in terms of financial balance? Then yes, and would they want more of an opportunity to maybe break into that? But again, for me, in this really early stages, I love the format. I think it's to be celebrated. I think it's a fantastic thing that we've got in the game. So yeah, be interested to see how it goes.
So Joey's point, Luke, about if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, 40 years ago, they might have thought the same thing, given the history that we've seen with regards to how the playoffs have kind of evolved over the course of that time. And, I mean, looking at what it once was to what it is now, I mean, it's hard to put yourself in that position. I mean, obviously, we'd all be very, very young as well, thinking when it first came in. But how that has kind of evolved and developed over the course of the years. I'm not saying it's due for looking at, but anything sounding a little bit new, sounds a bit uncomfortable at the start, but you soon get used to it, as history shows us.
Yeah, the initial reaction to it is like, why are you even discussing it? But then the more you start to delve into it and you see the history of the changes that have happened, especially in 2003 when it went from 4 to 6 teams, and that obviously was rejected by the Premier League and the FA. There's been discussions in the past, and now the more you talk about it, you can then understand the discrepancies where I think last season Bristol City were in 5th on 67 points and Middlesbrough were in 9th on 64. So it's a 3-point swing. So it does bring more teams into it, especially. But again, you mentioned the money that's involved, the discrepancy with parachute payments. There are lots of things and moving parts that need to be taken into account, I think.
And as the most recently retired player, Lucas, from a playing point of view, is it something that would bother a player too much, or do you just wait until it's either concrete or dismissed?
Yeah, I think it's something that you'd get used to. Again, you're afraid of change sometimes, I think, but I think occasionally you do get those games that don't quite have the same edge to them at the end of the season, and there's not quite that jeopardy. And it might be that even the teams that are 3rd and 4th that have usually secured their place in the playoff places that feel weakened teams, they all of a sudden worry that they might get drawn into a knockout game, and it just affords them to have to play full strength right to the end of the season. I think it'd be a good thing for the EFL as a product to have more games that mean an important thing to both clubs.